It's funny because people ask me that, and actually I don't know that I did specifically. I think everything that I've always known about John, that he's so exciting and dynamic and tenacious and sort of just a really incredibly awesome person to be around. And he's so knowledgeable about film, and he's got such a clear, got such visual flair that I think everything that I've always known about him was exciting to me, the thought that other people were about to find out. We did really try to embrace that other side of each other that you are when you're at work. You know, it's just a different element that you take on, and you have a different process of approaching things. And hilariously, I sort of learnt that I have a very impassive face when someone's pitching me an idea. Not a terribly good crowd for a pitch, apparently. I just sit there going like that. And that means I like it, usually. If I sit there kind of going, yeah, you know, then that's not good. But if I'm like this, I understand that's a good thing. I don't feel you have an alternative when you have two tiny people at home who don't care that you've been living in horror all day. I mean, I'm not a very method person anyway. It's never been a process that's worked for me terribly. So I understand that it's how people like to approach it. I need to actually be in quite a happy place or a comfortable place, I think confident place to do the kind of traumatic scenes that happen in this film. Quiet Place is the magnified version of what I think most parents feel, that dread of sending your children out to a world that feels fragile and disconcerting and at the best of times. And yet this is that, the film is that on steroids, you know, but it comes from the same core feeling about how far you would go to protect your children. The idea of not being able to protect my kids. That and cockroaches. But they're sort of not even, you know. I'd say kids protecting cockroaches are terrifying, but not nearly, they do not dominate my mind as much as the idea of my children being in jeopardy. I'm not a big horror watcher, I'm such a scaredy cat, but I do recognise that it's such an incredible genre to sort of carve out new space for yourself in a cinematic way. You know, it's such a heightened world and such a tension-fueled world that ultimately I think I was excited by John's script, and that this was really about a family, and at its core that idea of how far you go to protect your children was very real to me as a mother, and I think we saw a lot of ourselves in this family. And so yes, I think that idea of it being a two-pronged experience, of it being terrifying but also very moving, seemed quite rare to me, so I was very drawn to doing it. I loved watching Noah and Millie talk to each other. They would come up with they would sign to each other various ways of how they wanted to kill each other. Just the most brutal, horrible deaths. I was like, you guys are sick, really sick. But they were so cute to watch. I just used to love watching them together. It was not a disservice when it came to how much I connected with this character. It was hugely helpful to have my own sort of memory bank of experience with my own girls, and also with John, you know, that we could ultimately, by osmosis, I think it would make its way into the screen somehow. And I think that, so that was wonderful when it came to just how instantly connected I felt to this character. But some scenes were probably more, some scenes disturbed me more than others, than any other role I've played.
Who are we if we can't protect them? We have to protect them.